Awesome. Folks, welcome to Junkyard Theory. Today's session is a collaboration between Junkyard Theory and the TSML group. And tonight's guest, I've got someone very special with me. He is a Sri Lankan-born American actor. He's worked on movies like Captain America, The Winter Soldier, the Matrix sequels. You've probably seen him in Silicon Valley, which is most widely, probably most widely known for. He's been on Blacklist, Kidding, a whole range of TV series. And I am so glad to host him on the show. Bernard White, welcome to the show.
Ayuban, Sri Lanka. So grateful to be here. I cannot tell you. Thank you, Akash. Thank you so much.
It's always been like, since we kind of got connected a while back, I wanted to bring you on the show. I was like, all right, the pandemic started. I started the series. I was like, I want to wait till I get a little bit of momentum going before I call you. And I think we've come to that point, and the stars have aligned, and you're finally here. So,
woohoo!
Yeah.
I can't tell you what it means to me. It's just the thought that anybody in Sri Lankan is hearing me right now is thrills me more than I can even speak.
I mean, having roots over here in Sri Lanka and then flying over to the States, making it as an actor, it's a whole, it's not something that you hear about every day. So, Bernard, tell me, like, what was your story like? What was your origin story?
I was born right above the Lada Malagua. Is I saying that right? The Temple of the Tooth?
Yeah, Maligava.
I'm going to learn it right, man. I'm going to get back to my Sri Lankan roots and stop with this Yankee nonsense of mispronunciation.
But you were just telling me the one single sentence that you know. So I'm pretty sure like the guys watching us right now want to hear that.
And I say that perfectly. I think.
Perfectly.
Here we go. Koho de ande malepol. That's whenever I would do something as a kid, what I would might change the subject. My dad would turn to me and go, Koho de ande malepol. So my brother, I was born in Kandy on the edge of Udavata Kali, the forest there, in a little cottage that at the time was called Torrington Cottage. It was on the edge of Trinity College, and it was up in the hills from Kandy. And I was born in Kandy Hospital. And when I was 11 months old, my I had 6 elder brothers and sisters, and my dad decided to move us all to America because he was, we were a last name like White first off, and then we were burghers and we were Catholic, and my dad sort of saw the beginnings of the turmoil, after independence, the marginalization of the Tamil people, and I know it's a huge, complex, controversial story of what's happened, the tragedy of Sri Lanka between brothers and sisters. And my dad's mom was Tamil and his father was Sinhalese, and so streaming through our blood is this both sides, brother and sister of in the conflict. And so my dad had the foresight, I guess, or I don't know, the escape hatch to say, and we were all English speaking, so he said we need to get to Australia or England, or in that sort of great exodus at that time. And we ended up in a small town in Warsaw, Indiana, right in the heartland of America, United States. And we were the exotic brown people in this all white city, and little, a tiny little rural village. And I didn't know I was Sri Lankan really, other than my family. But my dad was hell bent on making us assimilating and getting away from the past. And so he convinced us that we were white. he convinced us that, he saw that in the United States that white people were treated better than black people. And so he wanted to make sure that we weren't confused with as being black. So he went too far and said we were white. He'd like make sure on any form we marked Caucasian. And, it's the same thing everywhere. It's like, seems like fairer, how much fair skin is loved in different circles in Asia and all over. And so we ended up in Warsaw, Indiana, the 7 of us. We took the Queen Mary. First we traveled on the Orion out of Colombo. It's a huge story. My dad's written a book called Struggle and Triumph, and it really speaks the story of his struggle to he sort of snuck out of he
Gotcha.
There were no laws. It was all legal, but he had a job with the government, and he had to, he literally mailed in his resignation at Colombo port right before he got on the ship, because he thought he would have been blocked. So we hopped on the Orion, went through this Suez Canal, and then ended up in England at Southampton, and then got on the Queen Mary and landed in New York. And it was interesting. I mean, about 10 years ago, I did a play in New York on 42nd Street. And the pier where we arrived on the Queen Mary was right at the end of 42nd Street. And it's just like you said, it's not a common story to be born in the jungles of Candy and end up being an actor in America. And so every night before I'd go on stage in this play, before the theater, I'd walk down to the port and remember that as a baby, my family carried me off this ship, and here I am. And then
how cool is that, right?
Right? Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
It's whenever I'm in New York. I mean, that's why I have this. Oh, look at this photo up here.
There you go.
That's the Queen Mary. And I saw
okay.
this print online somewhere, and it just spoke to me. It said, "Oh, there's the Queen Mary," and so I bought the print, and then I found out later that this actual print, I'm on this ship that this photo is in.
You're kidding.
This was taken in May of 1960, and that was there were only like 4 trips a year or something, and that was our family. Like, if you look close enough, we're somewhere, but we're probably in the bowels of the ship because we weren't very rich, so we might not have been allowed on deck.
But still,
I'm in that ship, man.
Wow.
And so whenever I'm in New York, I cry whenever I see this Statue of Liberty, and I think of the sacrifices my dad made, and but it's also, I gotta tell you, dear Sri Lanka, dear Ceylon, as it was called when we were there, it's taken a toll to come here. Like, it's my family, I think, has suffered in ways that are not spoken about, and all immigrants have suffered in a way, that to be away from their home, to be around people who looked like you, and a whole different pace and a whole different value system. And I know, when I came to Sri Lanka in 97, the thing that broke my heart was that it felt like Sri Lanka was trying to imitate America, or trying to imitate England or Australia. And so I would have to leave Colombo and go into the villages to feel the goodness.
The authentic Sri Lankanness, yeah.
That sort of humility and love, and instead of the ambition and the greed that and the corruption.
I think we got. I think if anything, in the past decade or so, that's kind of like increased, but yeah.
And it's the same in America. There's corruption here. I mean, it's just, wherever people have power, riches, they want to hold on to that. And they don't give a damn who they hurt.
Yeah, you can say that again, because But the book that your dad wrote, what's it called, and where can we find it?
You can give me your address and I'll send you a copy. I don't know if I think it was published in Sri Lanka. It's called Struggle and Triumph, the story of Stanley White, and he talks a lot about Duncan White, his brother, and in the book. So I'll send you a copy. I mean, it's a self-published book, and there was like 1,000 copies, and I
Okay.
have about 50 in my case, and when my dad died, and so I would be thrilled to send you a copy.
I'd be honored to have one.
It's a
Oh,
huge
seriously.
inspiration to me to hear his story, and yeah, it's beautiful.
And you are Duncan White's nephew, and Duncan White happens to be, one of the national heroes over here. So, do you want to do you remember your uncle? Any stories to share?
Rest in peace. I never met him. I probably met him. I'm sure I met him as an infant. He probably held me. I'm sure of that. I tried to meet him he lived in Nuneaton, Warwickshire in England. That's where he died. Last time I was in Sri Lanka, so this is my Duncan White story. Last time I was in Sri Lanka was 1997. And while I was there, and I had already had some success in that as an actor. And so people were kind to me when I was there, and doors opened. And then when they found out I was Duncan White's nephew, then it was really like, oh, well, let's roll out the red carpet for you. And an idea came to me to make a film about him, because at the time, I think I was in my 30s, and I was his age that when he won the Olympic medal. And I said, I'm going to make this film about him, and I'm going to play him. And, and I was a runner myself, so I could fake it. I was never on any level that he was. But I could, and I was a hurdler, so I could hurdle. I thought I could, let's do this film, and I'll play him. And I started thinking about it and writing about it. And then I met with like some people there. I met with an actor. I'm gonna forget his name. Rajaratnam? Is that?
Yeah,
No. Rajaratnam. No.
Chandran Ratnam. No?
Not him. No, I met with
Okay.
Ravi Randenya.
Ravindra Andenia. Okay.
Is he still around?
He's still around. Yeah, he's still around. Yeah.
I mean, I met with him just because someone said you should meet. So I went and visited him in his home. But the Sunday Observer, I believe, did a full-page article on me and this idea for this film. They showed some pictures it was like on New Year's Day, the full front page of the entertainment section was this article on me and my idea to make this film. It's I could take up the whole hour talking about this, but I won't. I came up with this idea. I got a lot of people interested, and they said, oh, this sounds brilliant. And I said, well, I need my uncle's blessing. So I flew back to London. No, I flew to Paris, and it was right when they opened the Channel, that express train between Paris and London. Literally, it had just opened, and it was all sold out. It was impossible to get a ticket. But I said, I got to get to England, and I only have 2 days to do it because I fly back to the States. So let me go to the train station and see if there's any cancellation. I get a ticket. Long story short, I ride through this thing. I take photos of myself. I write. It becomes this epic journey of like, I'm on my way to meet my uncle for the first time. So I had to get his blessing. I arrive in Nuneaton, and God bless him and his family and his beautiful wife. I think they were afraid of me.
Why is that?
I'm going to tell you, I arrived, and I don't know exactly, or else they were just, they were afraid I was asking something of them. I arrived at their front step. I mean, I wasn't asking to stay with them. I got a hotel. I just wanted to meet him, take him to dinner or something. And I called his wife and talked on the phone, and she said, "Oh," and she was very nice, and we're talking. And when I told her she didn't know I was in there. And when I mentioned I was there, she got very quiet, and she said, "Well, Duncan's not here. He's actually in London right now. So I'm so sorry you've missed him." And I said, "Oh, that's okay. I'd love to meet you if that's possible." And he said, and then the phone went dead. And then I wondered what was going on. And then I went to the house. I had the address, and I thought I heard voices inside. It was one of these flats, very close to the street. And I knocked and no one answered. Then I went back to my hotel and I wrote a letter to him saying, you've been an inspiration. I've never met you. You've been an inspiration to me all my life. You've given me a sense that I can do something with my life, what you did. And I know your story really well. And you're a hero. You're my hero. And left the note at the house, came back to the States. I mean, it's a big story. I was going through a divorce at the time, and my divorce got final. I arrived back into a sort of monsoon for Los Angeles. It was raining like anything. And I then, in the same day that I got a letter from my wife and lawyer saying our divorce was final, I got a letter from my Uncle Duncan, a short typed letter saying, "While I am impressed with your success in Hollywood, I have no interest in you exploiting me to make a name for yourself. Thank you for your interest. And of course, you show up in my hometown unannounced. Of course, I'm not going to be able to see you. So that was presumptuous on your part, and I wish you well." And I was just like, what's going on? I don't understand this. My parents were alive at the time. I went down to where they were living and I shared the note with them. And they were very quiet. And long story short, I mean, this is really, I'm sharing family history here. There was a rumor that my mother had an affair with Duncan, or something happened when my father was away. So there was a thought that maybe Duncan could be my father. All this, and my dad was saying, when he arrived back, he noticed something. There's some family secrets there. I don't know what they are.
Now that would make for an interesting movie.
And there we go. That's what I changed my whole idea for the film. The film is about an American actor whose uncle was an Olympic silver medalist who goes back to Sri Lanka to try to make this film. And then it's his journey to meet his uncle. And I have the script and it's written. There was some huge interest around, the Ratnams were helping me. Raja Ratnam was helping me a bit. He introduced me to the ambassador of, to America. And we had a big meeting at the Beverly Hills Hotel. And I remember Sharon Stone was sitting at another table. And it was this, but long story short, the ambassador, I forget his name at the time, and God bless him, I don't know him at all. But I just got this vibe of corruption. I got this vibe of like, oh, we can get money from this shady deal. We can get money from this. And it just turned me off and it made me, and I don't like to play the games of like Hollywood and all that stuff. And so like, I just thought I had this amazing script, this amazing story. I bring in and it was also, at the height of the war too. So I literally thought, oh, this film could help heal the island because it's talking about someone has Tamil blood, Sinhalese blood, and this war between two brothers, really, like whatever, because my Stanley and Duncan didn't speak for the last 30 years of their lives. And I don't know what the ride. My father was also a wonderful runner, a great runner and champion, but he wasn't as good as Duncan. So I don't know if there was jealousy between the two. And I don't know who's telling the truth about anything. So, because I know family secrets run real deep, but really it becomes a story about bringing a family together. And that's what, and I think it's this beautiful, it's called Kings of Candy is the name of the script. And,
Yeah.
alluding to that was the last stronghold of independence was in Candy. And
Yeah.
it's really about these men who had this independent streak, and it went too far, so far as to cut off family ties in their striving for independence, you know?
Now
And
that
I
would be
just,
a movie, everybody would love to see. I'm pretty sure, it's,
well,
well,
you're going to help me make it, my brother.
oh, 100%. Anytime you want to come down here and make it, me and the team, we're ready.
Oh, good. Well, I'll send you the script, and it's deeply personal. And I'm also, I just, and I'm not a businessman, and you to make films, you have to be a businessman. I mean, beyond being an artist, you have to really know how to ask for money, get money, and do that stuff. So I'm willing to learn, but I'm also very happy if somebody who knows how to do that stuff can lead me to the creativity.
Well, let's have a chat after, the session kind of ends. But yeah, that's going to be such a dope story. And yeah, it has proper cinematic value. So, I mean, a Hollywood movie made over here in Sri Lanka, it's been quite a while since something like that happened. So maybe, let's talk. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's filled with flashbacks of like 1930s Ceylon, so it gets into that, and there's flashbacks or scenes in Wembley Stadium of him winning the silver medal and his arrival back to the Gall Face Hotel, and the Duncan. I know I can't speak for him. He and I respect it. Even with whatever happened, I think he must have had really good reasons for not wanting to. And I know Angela, his wife, is a kind of saintly, wonderful woman, and my cousins are good people, and I don't want to do it without their blessing, to be honest, because it's. But this film is different because the one I've written is not. It's from my point of view, so I'm not looking to tell his story necessarily fully. I'm going to touch on his story and see that he's a hero and see what his struggles of, there's a lot of, this is a whole other thing, but with us brown people, we can hurt each other. We can be jealous of each other. We can bring each other down because there's so few slots where we can succeed. So we have to be the one who succeeds. And it's not a good paradigm for a community to thrive in if we feel like we're in competition with each other, as opposed to that we're brothers and sisters and we're family and we're going to all lift each other up.
And I wanted to bring that point up a little bit too. So being a brown guy with the surname White, ironically, and you guys are like, raised as white people, but, being in the States as a brown person, have you ever noticed, like, the back when you used to start and where you are at right now, the roles and the opportunities, has that kind of like, spread out and increased, or is it still like the same?
It's changed radically, thanks to the courage and balls of the of some of these younger guys coming up, like Aziz Ansari and Cal Penn and
Kumail Nanjiani.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where I know these guys, I'm all of them, and they've some of them like refuse to do accents. They refuse to do any of these roles, and they're so gifted and talented in their own right. They made their way. Like Cal has played my son several times, like in 2 or 3 films. I think he's played my son, and we did a play together. Like we've worked together closely, and I'm just in awe of his businessship and his. But so it's changed. Like it's through and also through through the current moment of Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. It's like people are refusing to fall into these stereotypes. When I was starting out, first off, they didn't even know the South Asian world was just so exotic back in the early 80s. It wasn't even a thing. It was just like, put a turban on me and let me pretend like I'm a prince or something in some sitcom. But so I was Latino. They thought I was Latino. So I was playing, my first roles were as like a Mexican gang kid or something.
Why is that? I mean, like even when I was in LA, so, like there were like a couple of people who asked me, like, are you Mexican? I guess it's the black hair and the brown skin, right? I mean, probably that.
All us brown people look alike, man. and then it's just because I think I was the only Sri Lankan actor in Los Angeles, if not America, at that time. And but there were the 2. There was Persis Kambata. She was an Indian woman who was in one of the Star Trek movies, I believe. And she, did that. And then there was another guy, an Indian actor named Kavi Raz, who was on a TV show called Saint Elsewhere, I believe, or something. But it was just so few and far between. And so I pretend, and also my dad's telling us we're white. So my heroes were James Dean and Robert De Niro and Dustin Hoffman. I didn't even identify as a brown person. I thought I was going to have a career like James Dean. That's what I thought. And it wasn't until 9/11 that I started, like, people started getting roles from the Middle East. I've never, I've played a few terrorists, but they've been in sort of good films, like either comedies or smarter. Like I think I've done one film that I was just a straight up cliche. There's a film called Demolition U, who I was just this raging machine gun toting. But I've had so many struggles. I did a TV show called The Unit that David Mamet was an executive producer on.
Yeah.
And I had to play an Afghan warlord, and I read the script, and it was beautiful, and it humanized my character, and I said, oh, okay, this is good. But then at the end of the show, I grab a machine gun and kill a bunch of American soldiers or something. And I refused to do it. While we were shooting, I said yes to the role, but I said, I've been thinking about this. I can't, this was not, this is 3 or 4 years after 9/11. I said, I can't do this. I'm not going to, the world is too complicated right now for me to perpetuate these cliches and these stereotypes. So and they threatened to fire me. They threatened to call me. I never had to pick up a gun, but I had 2 henchmen who then they rewrote the script that they picked up the guns and killed but it's complex, and I'm growing around it. But to answer your question, it's changed radically. But it's still, I've been lucky. Like in Silicon Valley, it's a satire, and on Kidding, I play just a guy that you don't. My last name's Pereira. And they changed that for me. Like they wanted to get a name that. And I
haven't seen the show, but does it allude to the fact that you're Sri Lankan at any point?
No,
okay.
It doesn't. It would have. We only went 2 seasons, and the showrunner was, I believe, moving it toward that, and but it didn't. We never got a 3rd season. So
gotcha.
But I didn't speak with an accent. I was very much American, but but in a certain way, it had that flavor because I was a kind of an outsider. I didn't quite fit in, and
Yeah. But talk to me a little bit about. So I want to talk about three things actually. One, not in this order, but about you joining the Marvel Universe in Winter Soldier, which still happens to be like one of my favorite, if not the most favorite, like my favorite film in the MCU. Denpok Singh from Silicon Valley and Rama Kandra from the Matrix sequel. So Denpok Singh first.
I almost didn't go to this audition. It was for that very reason. I said, a spiritual healer, and he's looks to be like a joke. I don't want to be in this world. And so I literally I said to my agent, I don't want to play this guy with an accent, and then they probably want somebody who, and I just don't want to do that. And my agent said, no, this is these guys who, Beavis and Butthead, they're kind of geniuses. Mike, I'm forgetting people's names. Mike Judge, what is his name? The guy who who came up with Silicon Valley. Anyway, I don't remember. That's going to kill me. I'm not remembering their name. But anyway, they said these are.
Let me check that up while you tell the story.
Oh, good, yeah. These are
showrunner, right? You're talking about the showrunner.
Yeah, the creator, and Mike Judge, not Judge. What the hell? I don't want to bore you all with my trying to remember. Anyway, so
Mike Judge, yeah, it's Mike Judge.
Mike Judge.
Mike Judge.
And they said these guys are geniuses. They'll do something really good with this. It's going to be a good show. I was about to go on a road trip, and I literally the car was packed. I went to this place, stopped in. I didn't care. I did the thing and took off on my road trip. I ended up getting it, and I loved it. It was 6 years of good money, number one. So that's a really good thing. And it was so much fun. I love the people I worked with, Matt Ross and Chris Williams, like the three of us were the kind of triumphant. And it was great. It was great to be around these amazing improv artists. And I met Kumail and that thing. And we ended up going to the same gym. I mean, I happened to go to the same gym as him, and I literally watched his body transform. Like, he was this a little chubby, not out of shape, but and he's now become this Hulk, I guess. And I literally would look across the way and see it happen.
So this was him when he was preparing for the Eternals, right?
Actually, before that, like, he started even before. Maybe he knew about it. I didn't know, but he was beginning to go to the gym regularly. I thought he was just wanting to, get in shape. But then all of a sudden, I've always been a fan of his. I saw him on Portlandia, and I thought, this guy is so talented. So Denpok was great. I would never know when I was working on it, and they'd call me, and so my hair was always different, and often I was doing another job, and they'd have to fly me in from somewhere to do like 1 day or 2 days, and it was just a great gift. I loved it. I'm mad at them, though. I'm really angry with them because I felt they dropped and this is, to me, racism. They dropped the ball on making something more of this character, because this is a very popular character. I walk anywhere and people go, "Oh, Denpok."
Yeah,
and they could have done more. And I always encouraged them to. And I'm really pissed that they didn't even have me in to see the series finale. They should have had some little tiny thing to wrap it up. But to me, that's they're not racist people, but it's kind of.
It's subliminally kind of like integrated into them, I guess, through years of conditioning, unconsciously,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
because they were good to me, they were kind to me, and they respected me, and there was great.
Like, I had no idea, that Silicon Valley was as famous, over here in Sri Lanka as well. Like, I was just talking to the admins of this page the page where we're kind of going live. And even he was telling me, that, hey, bro, like Silicon Valley is something that's kind of like changed my life. So when you told me that this guy is coming on board, and he was in the Winter Soldier, Matrix. I was like, oh yeah, I've seen him, but then I actually noticed him properly. Like I recognized him from Silicon Valley, so it's pretty damn popular here too, man.
It seems to be, yeah. It's a
Yeah,
good show. I'm very, very proud and grateful that I was a part of that.
and I'm curious to hear more about the Matrix sequels.
Okay, I'm gonna dive right into the controversy of that. And this is
Mhm.
you're getting a world exclusive here.
Okay, here we go.
And there's no spoilers because yeah, you'll see why. So I'm gonna start from now and then go backward. Because in the Matrix there's no such thing as time. That's what I found out. And you know, some other people, smart people before that, have said the same thing. You know, whether it's the Bhagavad Gita or many philosophies. I got a call from my agent about a month ago saying Lily Wachowski wants to use you in Matrix 4. She wants to use a clip from the previous ones.
Archival footage.
Yeah. And we need your okay, and the contract is like this minimum money we'll give you, and there you go. They said they want to use about 10 seconds of footage, but they need my approval. First off, I was very excited because I'm still a fan, and I said, "Oh, the thought is I would love to be a part of this world." So, but then I looked at what the money they were offering me. It was so low, and I thought about it, and I meditated on it, and I said, "Yeah, no, I'm not going to do this. I need more money." And it's not for the money's sake. I mean, it's partly for the money's sake, but it's also more. I love that character of Rama Kandra, and to me, he was the heart of revolutions in a certain way. In his talking about love and karma and dharma and again, subtle racism. This character deserves something. So I wanted to advocate for him. And I've heard rumors that Matrix Resurrections is all about love, and it's a love story. And I said, if you people are willing to pay like $2 million on an explosion, some chase sequence, or you're willing to pay $8 million on some special effect, you can pay a little more money for this human being who's a program and who is talking about love. It's worth it. And so if it's worth it to you, I'd love to be in your film, but pay for it. They came back with a little bit more money. Still, I said, and I'm not, and I wasn't going to budge. So that's where we have it. So I don't know if I'm going to be in the film or not. There's still some time, and they may, who knows. But and now I'll go back to the beginning. When I first got the audition for Matrix or Reloaded, I was such a fan of the first Matrix. I literally would have paid them to be in the film. I just loved it. I loved it. A friend of Carrie Ann Moss was a friend of mine at the time, and she had talked to me about it a little bit, and I just said, I'll do anything to be in this film. I ended up getting the film, and then working a couple months in Sydney, Australia, and it was just the best experience. It was, first off, just to travel to Sydney and in luxury and all that stuff, and then when the movies came out, and they, most of the world was disappointed with the two movies, and I wasn't. I actually still loved them. I loved. I felt it was a little overblown in the different things, and it, like, what was so good about the first one was there was this heart and this grittiness. but I was happy with my couple scenes, you know, because that had heart and it was slow and it wasn't about explosions. So I'm so deeply grateful to have played that character, and I still, you know, I have people like that's another iconic character that people really love. You know,
they love it, and it's easily identifiable. So you know, pretty much everybody remembers that scene. Like you said, it wasn't, you know, all about explosions or fighting, but about the message that was kind of being told, like a computer program talking about human emotion. So
yeah,
that does make a mark.
yeah, and to me that was, and I know the Wachowskis, they wanted that to be the heart of the film, that message of that between machines and humans, what really makes the difference, and that's what I thought. It was a complex film, is that machine didn't equal evil and human equal good. It was a combination, like in Hinduism, it's like one of the avatars, I think the final avatar is supposed to be half man half machine, and so it's a beautiful thing. And so I just felt, I feel, and I still feel very strongly like I would love to, but it's like a nice story, right? Like back when I began, I felt I needed them more than they needed me. And so I would do anything to be in their film. Now, you know, if their film is not going to be about love, I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be about a part of a film that's just going to be loud and glorifying violence. And
Personally, I kind of felt like, you know, they wrapped everything up very neatly with the third movie, because it kind of had like that full, you know, character arc. I don't know what they're gonna do with you know, the new movie Resurrections. I hope it's good, but you know, even if not, at least to see you you know, on that screen, at least through archival footage, that would be a real blast. And I've heard rumors again that Priyanka Chopra's character is going to be playing the character who played your daughter, Sati. Sati's character, so grown up, like, who knows?
that's what I heard. And something interesting about that, Priyanka executive produced a film I did just last. I think
Evil
it's
Eye.
Evil Eye, yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't even meet her, but I met a lot of her people around her, and so I remember talk of that, and we thought of the irony of, oh my God, I might be playing your father. Oh, you might be playing my daughter.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Matrix, I have just nothing but love for it, and I hope the movie is good, whether I'm in it or not. And I really admire that the siblings. One of, and I'm confusing. I think it's Lily has decided not to be a part of this fourth one. Lana is, and Lily has really good reasons for not. I just read an interview with her, and
I saw the headline, couldn't get down to reading it, but yeah, I
yeah,
gotta check that out.
because it is
Uh,
there's more important things in Hollywood movies, man.
totally. You'd know all about that.
But they're real fun and good too.
It's one of those series that kind of, you know, it's stood the test of time. So every single time I watch the first movie, I'm like, all right, I gotta watch the sequels. Like, otherwise it just doesn't feel complete. Like, and upon every single viewing, there's something new philosophically that kind of makes sense. You know, starting off with the first movie, and then you go through the second one, third one. Like, there's that bit in the third one where, you know, I think it's the architect, which kind of doesn't make a lot of sense, but you know, you just go through the motions because it's such an entertaining and intellectual franchise, you know.
Yeah,
And that's just the beauty of it. So
yeah, and
yeah,
it's,
still love
it's
it.
talking about some old, deep, mystic
Yes,
things that we
yeah,
all need to remember.
100%. And want to come to the MCU. So you played Nagendra Singh in the second Captain America movie and part of the World Security Council.
Yes.
And yeah, so I had a friend, you know, when I posted that you were coming online on the show, it was like, please get him to say, "Not if it's your switch." And I'm like, let me just tell him to, you know, bring a glass of champagne as well, so you can like flick it while you say that.
Okay, I'll break my coffee cup. I'll throw it on the ground here. My wife might not be too happy about that, but neither was Robert,
it's all good.
neither was Robert Redford. He wasn't. I mean, a little trivia. The script had me taking that champagne and throwing it in his face. And when we were about to shoot it, Mr. Redford said, "I wonder if we can not do that." And he's earned the respect of getting what he wants. So that's when it came to that thing. But I was really looking forward to throwing a glass of champagne into Robert Redford's face. Let me tell you that.
Was that real champagne or was it like prop alcohol?
Prop, I'm sure. Yeah, yeah, like some ginger ale or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But you shared a room with Samuel L. Jackson, Scarlett Johansson, and Robert Redford, man. I mean,
right?
I don't really remember the other two, but I mean, that was like, dude, the heavy hitters. Yeah.
I mean, I want to pinch myself. That's yeah. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. I mean, it's just another, that was just like I had no idea. I knew a little bit about the Marvel universe, but not really as much as I knew about the Matrix. But I knew they were big movies, and the brothers, the Russo brothers, were interesting to me, and so it was great. And I was in awe of, like, on the set, I would sit in my chair, and we all get these really fancy chairs with our names on it. Robert Redford had a fancy chair with his name on it, which he would never sit in. And he would go sit in like a fold-out chair over in the corner, and he would read the New York Times, like from cover to cover. And we'd talk a little bit here and there. He loved my wife. My wife's from Chicago, and he talked about how Chicago is the greatest American city. Anyway, but it was just such a gas to be in that world. And I had no idea what was going on. I didn't understand. I didn't even know when I saw the movie. When I read the movie and did the movie, I didn't know that I died. I didn't understand what happened at the end. And I thought, oh, I'm going to be part of the World Council for a while now. And which I guess I still am, because I recently just there's this new animated series.
What If?
What If?
Yeah.
I'm doing my character again in that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just went and did the voice work. I mean, it's just this tiny little thing, and I don't know if I'll come back, but they had Councilman Singh.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's more like it's part of the whole, the multiverse sort of thing. So I've seen the first 3 episodes, and yeah, so no one really dies, right? I mean, you can always bring them back now.
Exactly. But it was a great experience. We shot in Cleveland. We shot in Los Angeles. I love that movie also. It's a wonderful movie. But I have a cooler Marvel story. I was in Los Angeles rehearsing a play, and I got a call from my agent saying, "How would you like to go to Hong Kong to do a scene with Robert Downey Jr. in one of the Marvel movies?" And I said, this is after I had done Captain America. So I said, "Am I playing my same character? What's going on?" And they said, "We can't tell you anything. Just, do you want to do it?" And I said, "Well, yeah." They said, "The only thing is you would leave tonight. You would have to leave for Hong Kong tonight." This was like at 2 p.m. And I said, "Well, okay." They said, "Well, just get home. The driver will hand you the script when he's taking you to the airport. And then that's all we can tell you. Well, you'll be in Hong Kong for a couple weeks. And do you want to do it?" I said, "Yes." Okay. I said, "Yes." So the driver comes. I have to change a bunch of things around, and I'm now on my way to Hong Kong. I read the script on the plane, and it's a scene with Thor. It's a scene. It's not Robert Downey Jr. It's is that Liam Hemsworth or Chris Hemsworth?
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah. Chris. So it's a scene with him, and I'm to play Odeon? Is that his father's name?
Odin, yeah.
Odin.
Yeah.
And I said, what's going on here? Anthony Hopkins plays this role. Why am I going to be doing this role? So I had no idea. I arrived, this all-night flight. I arrive. Chris Hemsworth is in Hong Kong shooting another movie, some CIA movie with black in the title. I forget what it was.
It was Black Hat.
That
Black
sounds
Hat.
something.
Yeah. Black Hat, I think.
And so it's like I feel like I'm in some Homeland episode or something, because they take me. I arrive from the airport. They take me to his hotel where he's shooting in a hotel. I go up, and there's protests outside. There's like some protests about the film and about American involvement and British, and like there's just something going on. So they take me through these protesters. I go up, and I meet him for a second, and then that mainly I'm going to meet the makeup people to fit me, and I still don't know what's happening. But I've learned the lines and everything, and now and then I shoot for a couple. Anthony Hopkins is in London, and they can't get him to Hong Kong, and Chris Hemsworth in Hong Kong, they can't get him to London. They have to shoot this scene without each other. They shoot it separately. They needed, what they said is they needed a good actor to play his father that would make him, his performance okay. And you see my arm at what they put me in the wig and everything, and so and that final scene of, I forget which movie it was, Thor.
Was it The Dark World or Ragnarok?
I think it was The Dark World. But okay. There's a final scene that they tack on at the end of the movie between him and his father, and I do this scene with Chris Hemsworth with green screens and everything, and then they cut it together so it looks like it's Anthony Hopkins.
Got you. Okay.
And that's my biggest story in the Marvel universe, because it was so surreal. I'd never been to Hong Kong. They put me up in this amazing hotel, and I walked the streets of Hong Kong in the hills, and it was just fantastic. And I was there for like a week and a half, and I shot for 3 days, and it was fantastic.
Why did they tell you that it was Robert Downey Jr. you were going to work alongside?
I have no idea. I think it's just all these like false things they throw out just in case in case any leaks or anything, and until they have me and know I'm gonna not leak anything.
Yeah, those guys are like pretty damn secretive about anything they do. So
it's like pure CIA's, world intrigue stuff.
Wow. I mean, I guess, we could kind of go on and on and on about all these stories, but, as an actor, I kind of want to just bring everything together in a way where you are an actor. And what's your process like? How do you prepare for all these roles? I mean, sometimes you get the script, sometimes, it's you might have like a while to prepare. Sometimes the duration's like pretty short. How do you get into character? Are you a method actor, or are you like what's your approach like?
It's changed over the years. But at the heart of it is, I used to always want to change myself, like change my hair, and many of my roles, I often, like, people don't realize, oh, you're the guy who played Denpok is the guy who played that. Oh, I never knew they was the same person. So that I take as a great compliment. But as I've learned over the years, it's more about going inward and sharing your depths. And so I do this stuff called dream work, where it's like more about tapping into your unconscious. And I'm a deeply spiritual, believing, God-fearing human. And so all my acting now is just hopefully a extension of my faith. It's how do I be of service? How do I be humble? How do I be courageous enough to shrink my little ego and all my, like, even like as we were talking before we began this, I thought, oh, should I set up a really nice background and get the lighting right and everything and get some good clothes on so people really have this idea that I'm this really
Glamorous kind of guy,
yeah,
Hollywoody actor.
yeah, exactly. Living in the mansion somewhere, and so let me like really make them like perform this little interview, so I can fool you into thinking who I might be. And so every script I get now, I take personally and say, oh, why is this script coming into my life? Why do I need to play this? And it's all about faith. So I don't really worry about auditions anymore, like whether I get the job or not. If I need to get the job, I'll get the job. If God wants me to get the job, I'll get the job. If I have something to say in this role, it will happen. If I don't, I'm trying. It's all about being present. And if I can,
You're being in the now, right? You're being in the now.
exactly,
You're not as forcing anything. It's kind of like
exactly,
surrendering, sort of.
exactly. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
to bring it back to the Matrix. It's
Mm.
that mobile avenue. You're in this space where that has no beginning and no end and no before and after, and it's this limbo space, and you don't know what's coming next. You don't know. I have this little girl that I need to protect. That's all I know, and that I love, and all I know is that I'll give anything for her to be okay. But it can only happen in the moment. It's not, if I'm worried about the future, I'm gonna be filled with
Yeah.
anxiety.
You're gonna dilute the present, and
Yeah. Or if
yeah,
I'm living
yeah,
in the past, if I'm worried about what I'm about to lose and the
yeah,
good
yeah.
old days. So my approach to acting is purely spiritual. It's purely there's a phrase that John the Baptist said. He said, I must decrease so that God may increase. And that's what I feel. I feel like we're all God, and we're all have the spirit of God in us, and all these human ambitions and all these things get in our way of being these pure vessels of love and kindness and mercy. And it's hard being human. It's hard being in a war-torn country. It's hard being in an insecure situation all the time, and it can make us really small. And that's how it happens in acting. Like so many people are so worried about how they're going to look, and you see it in their performance. You see that self-consciousness, you see that cultivated perfect skin, perfect makeup, and it imposes this false, this, almost, I don't want to say evil, but this
It's a
horrible
false. It's a
fantasy.
false. Yeah, yeah, masks, right? It's
Yeah,
a mask, so it's
yeah,
not
yeah,
authentic.
yeah.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
what's really important is our hearts, our breath, our love for our families, our children, our wives, our husbands, our lovers, whoever.
That's beautiful. That's actually beautiful, man.
Thank
Seriously.
you. Well, it's not me, but yeah,
It's authentic, and that's what matters.
yeah, yeah.
And before we kind of like wrap up, you also do theater, so just run us through a little bit of that. Last time I was like trying to contact you, you were off doing a play, and or else we would have met sooner.
Thank
But yeah,
you.
you do theater
When
as
was
well.
that, by the way? When were you here? What
This
year?
this was 2019 July. Yeah.
I was doing a play called Ghosts with Uma Thurman. I was playing opposite Uma Thurman in
What?
William. Yeah, in
Shit, damn.
right. You should have got your ass to Williamstown and seen that play.
Dude.
It was such a pleasure. It's a play by Henrik Ibsen. It's written in the 1800s and is beautiful play. And so yeah, I was doing that, and that's the last real play I did. But I do this thing. T.S. Eliot, a poet, has wrote a poem called Four Quartets. It's a 60-page poem, and I've memorized it. And I do that in the park here in Los Angeles, in Griffith Park, every Sunday morning at 6:15. I do it for free. I do it no matter, like sometimes there's 3 people there, sometimes there's 20. It's at 6:15 in the morning, so it filters out people who don't want to be there. And yeah,
you get the genuine crowd, right? You get the genuine people who really want to enjoy it.
Yeah. There's coyotes there, and there's deer. So they're gonna listen and no humans show up, and I do that every Sunday, and that's my theater right now. But I've done a ton of theaters in New York and all over the country. It's my first love, and I love it. Man,
that's just brilliant. And Bernard, thank you so much for sharing all those insights with us. World exclusive on one particular topic. Anyone who wants to watch this can kind of you guys can find this on YouTube after the session ends, or else it'll be on the TSML page. So just share it around. Our very own Bernard White, Sri Lankan-born American actor, someone who's made it out there in Hollywood as a performer. You're an inspiration to us, so thank you so much again for joining us, and we wish you all the best.
You're an inspiration to me. And are there going to be questions? No, because we've run out of time.
We kind of do, but I was like, oh, hold up. We do have one question. I kind of saw this being, put up before. So I don't know how you're going to answer this, but let me just put this up anyways. So what do you think about Sri Lankan cinema? Any suggestions to improve it?
Oh, I wish I could answer this. I don't know Sri Lankan cinema. I wish I knew it. That's the first thing. My suggestion to improve it is get me to watch it. That's the first thing. Get it to me so I can see it. Yeah, I don't. I think maybe I've seen one film, but it was an American production.
Let me kind of familiarize you with this, afterwards.
Please. But, good. Okay, yeah. I want to learn about it so badly, but without knowing, how my suggestion to improve it is for it to not imitate America.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Any others?
To not try to carry guns and do all that nonsense, and to get to the heart of what it is to be in Sri Lanka. That beautiful
100%.
island. Whenever twice I've been there, whenever I break through the clouds, after this long flight, and all of a sudden see the green of the island, it's paradise.
Let's hope you get to come down here and hopefully work on that movie about not the biopic, but the fictionalized version of the White family story. So played by brown people, of course. So yeah.
Kings of Candy. I will have to find someone in their 30s who can hurdle. So I'm sure you'll find me somebody.
Oh, 100%. Bernard, thank you so much again, man.
Thank you all. I'm so grateful. I love you, Sri Lanka. You don't know how much.
Thank you so much again. Till then, this is Junkyard Theory, folks. And thank you to everybody who tuned in, to the good folks over at TSML. So thank you, guys. And we'll see you again soon.